You are consistent. You are showing up. But somehow, the posts that you work the hardest on for LinkedIn, they are getting you the most quietest response. In fact, you have been doing all the right things, and for some reason, things are just not resonating and things are so quiet on your calendar. If this is the case, then stay tuned and you want to stay put for this episode of Strategize Your Business, where we're going to talk about why your smartest posts fall flat on LinkedIn. Welcome to Strategize Your Business Online. This is the live for entrepreneurs and senior leaders like yourself who are looking for a dose of business inspo and ways to leverage the online space. My name is Dee Boswell-Buck, and I am the LinkedIn Visibility Strategist at Boswell-Buck Creative Consulting. And what we do is we help you to stand out as the go-to in your industry so that you can book more leads and earn more revenue. I'm going to be walking you through why your best ideas, why your best pieces of content are not landing with the right audience here on LinkedIn. And also, I'm going to talk about the different ways that you can pinpoint things so that you are actually connecting with your potential clients and your potential collaborators. This is going to be interactive and actionable. Now, here are 5 reasons why your content on LinkedIn is possibly falling flat, most likely. Now, number 1 is that you're not acknowledging platform differences. So, quite often, people move from one social media platform to another. And what they do is they show up the exact same way. And the thing is that each social media platform, they have their unique qualities. They are different from other platforms. They work differently. And there are, in some cases, video might do really well on a platform. Text might not do well on a platform. So what you want to do is really understand more about the platform differences that you're using. And what tends to happen with regards to when entrepreneurs are coming onto LinkedIn is that they are leaving platforms where they are quite comfortable. And for instance, they might leave from Instagram to also share content on LinkedIn, or perhaps they're sharing content on TikTok and now they're going to share this content on LinkedIn, or they're also sharing content on Facebook and they're moving over towards LinkedIn. It could be any one of those situations. And what tends to happen is that when people move from one platform to another, again, not acknowledging the platform differences, what they tend to do is they will share the same type of posts from one platform to another. I love to use analogies. I'm going to walk you through an analogy right now. But one of the things that I can definitely say is that I often see that entrepreneurs have established a really great presence on Instagram, for instance. And Instagram has reels. On LinkedIn, they call them video, right? So on Instagram, there are the reels. And also, what entrepreneurs tend to do is that they will also share video in stories. And then they will download that content and show it on LinkedIn. The thing is that those videos, they've got all of the stickers and they definitely look like they came from a different platform and therefore it doesn't resonate. Another thing that business owners tend to do is that they do not remove the watermark. So a watermark is when, if you're on Instagram, for instance, and you download a video because you want to share it elsewhere, well, Instagram, they don't want you to do that. So what they'll do is that you'll see the Instagram logo move all throughout the video. So then that video gets shown onto LinkedIn or on any other platforms, and therefore it just doesn't resonate. The same thing happens with TikTok, where people are sharing videos on TikTok, And then when they download it from TikTok, TikTok does the same thing. And you'll see the watermark. And then that video is now being shared on LinkedIn. So those are examples of where we see that individuals are sharing the exact same content from platform to platform. Can you share a video from another platform? Absolutely. So I just want to mention that there are apps for that. And if you ever want to know what those apps are, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll circle back later and suggest some apps. But these apps, they're phone apps and they will help you to download the footage and they will also remove the watermark. So those are really great things. Another thing is that sometimes individuals are sharing like a specific type of video on Instagram that does very well. And then they take that exact video again and put it on LinkedIn. Now, what I have found with LinkedIn and also when I'm helping out my clients too, is that when we're sharing video on LinkedIn, the video, we tend to gear it towards it being informative. So it is sharing tips, it is sharing information that's going to be helpful, and it's not going to be so entertaining. So on LinkedIn, it's more about like sharing what it is that you know and also using that knowledge so that it helps the end user or the person on the platform. So we're on number one about not acknowledging the platform differences. I'm going to bounce to the next slide and then I'm going to come back. Now, I mentioned that I like using analogies. So here is my analogy. We've got 3 pictures of me, Dee Boswell-Buck, okay? And I'm going to use this analogy here. So hopefully we can like understand a little bit better about showing up, trying to show up in the same places in the exact same way and why it doesn't resonate. So in the first picture to the left-hand side, there I am at a park and I'm with my daughter and we're using these glasses. So there, we went to go see the eclipse. I think the eclipse was 2 years ago. And I love this picture. I still have it on my phone and I'm really glad that I have it. I was able to use it. Now notice how I look in this picture. Super casual, okay? In fact, we did a little bit of hiking, a little bit of walking and things like that in the park. So if you were to like go up really, really close, you'll see that I've got some, there's some soil on my sleeve. I've got my scarf on. I'm super casual. I'm doing these like funny faces. My daughter and I, she's got this peace out sign. So this is us, and we are at the park, and we went to go watch the eclipse, which was very short-lived, by the way. And then in the middle, I was at a Mother's Day gala. This Mother's Day gala was so cool. We didn't even have to bring our kids. It was just a bunch of women having a good time. And we all had to wear red. So at this Mother's Day gala, you had to dress to the nines. So if you notice, I am wearing a dress. It's red. It has a shawl. I have like a fancy purse. My hair is all out. And just imagine if I was in that red dress and I decided to go to watch the eclipse in the park, which by the way, notice I'm wearing a jacket. The weather was quite cool because it was really overcast. So if I went to watch the eclipse in the park and sitting on one of those folded chairs, and I didn't have my special glasses, by the way, I would look out of place. So there's an example. And then in the third picture here, to the right-hand side, this is me at a networking event. This was an event that took place about 3 weeks ago. I'm wearing this blazer, and you can see that everyone is dressed in a professional manner. So just imagine if I showed up in that outfit from that networking event, and I went to the Mother's Day all red affair. I would be out of place. And I do remember there were a couple of women who were not wearing red dresses that day, and they were kind of getting the look because it was like a theme to bring us all together. So this is a case of where this outfit to the right-hand side would not have fit in with the super dressy Mother's Day affair that was happening in the middle, nor would it have been a fit for watching the eclipse. So at the end of the day, all three pictures are, my full name is Denise. All three pictures are Denise, Dee Boswell-Buck. But in one, I am dressed warmly. I'm also wearing the appropriate gear so that I will be able to see after watching the eclipse. In the next one, I am dressed appropriately. I am dressed according to the dress code, wearing a red dress so that, we're all like together in this all red affair. And then I am there at the networking event. At the end of the day, it is Dee Boswell-Buck, but everyone is getting me and they all know who I am, same type of personality, but in some cases, the personality also shifts as well. So, where I'm doing peace out signs with my daughter, and we were having a good time, we were doing some singing as well and laughing. I wouldn't really be in that type of attitude um, at that networking event that I was at the right hand side, because we were watching a movie, by the way, and it wouldn't have been appropriate. So this is where you are showing up as you. The thing is that you just got to do some minor tweaks so that you actually resonate to the audience that you are going to be around. So let me bounce back. Number two, you are sharing the same message to a different audience. So I did mention before that you could be on TikTok, or perhaps you are on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on a different platform. But usually what tends to happen, and this is for me, these are questions that I ask my clients, is I ask my clients, why is it that you want to be on LinkedIn? And they tell me, even though they're established on Instagram, but they tell me that LinkedIn is where, they understand that it's a different audience, different good, by the way, a different audience where people have higher income earnings. Also, it is a professional platform, professional in the sense of you're not being drowned out. So if you are already on those other platforms, you're on those other platforms where the space is very shared. So for instance, you'll be on Facebook, and on Facebook, you've got your family on there, you've got friends on there as well. On Facebook, there are also sharing with you different groups that you could be in, or different types of content that the algorithm says that you should be interested in. Or on Instagram, you are up against the dog videos, the cat videos, other business owners. You're up against individuals who are there in a very casual manner. So you're kind of being drowned out, and people are not seeing or hearing about your business as much as you would like them to. But here on LinkedIn, it's a more professional atmosphere, which is a great thing. On LinkedIn, you've got people who are looking for a career, who are looking to hire, and they're also looking to grow their business as well. So everything is in a business point of view. And the expectation is that you are sharing about your business. The expectation is that you are there to do some networking. And the expectation is that you are in a professional setting. So, therefore, you are not going to be drowned out. And again, what's wonderful about LinkedIn is that as long as you know who your client avatar are, as long as you know about your client avatar, you can take a look for these types of individuals and curate your network. So I wrote a LinkedIn newsletter the other day, and it was called If I Was a Landscaper, I Would Use LinkedIn Like This. So if you are a landscaper, you do construction on like exterior buildings and things like that. Then on LinkedIn, you can look for people who are in commercial real estate. You can look for individuals who, based on their titles, they're most likely to have homes that are worth a certain amount. And then, as that person who's a landscaper, you can start to send connection requests to these individuals. And then you are curating that network. Your content when you are sharing it, is also going to land with that audience because you are connecting with intention. So this is where the type of content that you are sharing on other platforms, this is why they will not resonate so much on LinkedIn. And this is actually something that you should look at no matter what type of platforms that you're on. Number three, you're not connecting with your future clients and collaborators. So I just mentioned that on LinkedIn, you could connect with your target audience. Now, when I talk about connecting with your future clients and your collaborators, perhaps you are, I use that example, and you're looking for people who are into commercial real estate. Well, on LinkedIn, you can use a search bar, and then you can look for individuals who have those descriptions in their profile, or perhaps they shared it in their content. LinkedIn is an amazing search engine, and then their content will come up, their profile will come up. You can take a look to see they're like the best fit for you. Perhaps you even are location specific, so you can put in specific types of locations, or perhaps you can work across North America, you could work across the world. You can put all of these keywords in and then connect with these future clients of yours. And then, because you're sharing content that they are most likely going to be interested in, they're going to engage in your content. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the saying, birds of a feather flock together. Well, they're usually connected with other individuals who are very much the types of individuals that you want to get connected to. And what's great about LinkedIn is that LinkedIn will say, well, Josephine engaged with your content, and then it's going to share that with Josephine's connections. Josephine's connections are going to say, who did she engage with? They're going to take a look, and now you can get some people following you who are, quite interested in what it is that you do. They might be saving your posts, and those are future clients. I'm also talking about collaborators. Now, this here is what people tend to forget. Wouldn't it be amazing if you don't have to rely so much on your social media only, or you don't have to rely on your website only? And networking is fantastic, but you don't have to always rely on it. Well, on LinkedIn, you could search for individuals where you can get onto their stage. As an example, I had a client and she is a business coach. And what she does is, well, what we do for her is we look for individuals who have podcasts. And we look for those podcasts that are very much aligned with what it is that she does. So this business coach, she deals with productivity. So what we would do is on LinkedIn, we would look for podcast hosts who also did podcasts specifically for business owners and for executives. And then she would reach out to them about being on their podcast. Now, I just want to say something when it comes to that is that when you are looking for individuals where you can share their stage, it's great that you can find that information about that on LinkedIn, but you also want to do some research. Now, sometimes what tends to happen is that people say that they are a podcast host, but perhaps they haven't had a podcast in the last 8 months. Well, you don't want to send out a connection request and be on somebody's radar for if they have not been sharing a podcast. So this is where I always say for my clients, or this is what we do for my clients as well, is that we will see that somebody has a podcast, and then we will go and check out Spotify or any of those podcast listings, and we will see if they've got a recent podcast. Now my clients can listen to the podcast, see where they can fit in, also do some engaging. And this is a great way where some of my clients have actually booked to be on a podcast, many podcasts, I must say, and then they're able to reach more individuals, and they have also been able to book more clients. I'm going to skip over that slide that I just went over about my analogy and on to the next one. Now that we talked about what is not working well and why your smartest posts are falling flat on LinkedIn, I have some screenshots that I have ready for you that I would like to share. Now, this is something, again, that I look at for all of my clients as we get started. And also, I do have a LinkedIn coaching group called Content Lab. And what we do is it's for women entrepreneurs who are looking to roll up their sleeves and get into like managing their LinkedIn presence on their own. And what it is that they do, and what my clients do, is that we take a look at the analytics and the trends. So, the way that you can take a look at this is that if you go to your LinkedIn profile and then you go and you take a look at the impressions, so there'll be a link there for impressions. And then when you go for your impressions, you can click on a button that says content. And with that content button, you'll be able to take a look at the impressions, how well you are doing. So impressions are the amount of times that your post has been seen by somebody on LinkedIn. Or there's the engagement, and that would be the number of times that somebody or individuals have engaged with your content on LinkedIn. And that could be with reactions, that could be with comments as well. Perhaps somebody has saved your post as well, or they've taken a look at your profile. So, what we do, like when we're getting started with clients, is that we ask them in the next 2 to 3 months, what are your business goals? And then we go ahead and we create a strategy, a LinkedIn strategy that's going to help them to get to those LinkedIn goals. But what we do first is we see where are they at right now. So this is a screenshot from a client of mine, and I am going to like walk you through the journey. So we started with her in the spring. So we've got June, we've got July, and we've got August. And it's kind of small for me right now, so I'm going to take a look at it from my other device here. Now, when we started, she let us know that in the fall, she wants to have an in person event. And that in person event was happening at the end of September. Another goal of hers is that she wanted to book more clients for two specific services. So that's two goals. Another thing was that she wanted to grow her email list. So these are the three things that we wanted to focus on. Now, for her, the summer tends to be a little bit quiet. So this is where growing your email list really comes in handy. So in the month of June, when we first started, she had like over the 30 days impressions that equaled 3,300 and change. And we saw the daily, it was going up and down. And the number of members reached was 932. So she was in the green. And then we go to July. We bumped up a little bit. In July, the impressions were now 3,957. And we see that there is a lot of activity. We see that it is in the green. So she increased by 16.6% over the past 31 days. Notice though that the members reach did go down, but in her industry, in terms of the type of clients that she wants to reach, the summer tends to be a little bit slow, but we were like really thrilled about making progress. And then in the next image that we have here, the impressions for August, well, it went up 42.9%. So all throughout this time, we did a deep dive into the type of content that would really resonate with her target audience that she wants to connect to on LinkedIn. And then we created that type of content with her. We also put into place strategies so that she's also networking and also like sending out connection requests to the right types of individuals. And the impressions went up to 5,652. It went up 43%. We can see that there was like huge activity. And then look what happened with members reach. So in June, members reach was 932, then it was 849, and members reach now went to 1,522. There was a 79% increase. Now let's go to September when everything was supposed to be happening, where she wanted to meet these goals. So in September, which was like just a few days ago, in September on the 26th, she did have her event in person. It was sold out. She filled the room. She was also able to launch new services in that room. She ended up booking people for those services in that room. So that was a full day of her guiding her ideal clients, her guiding people how to show up strongly as an entrepreneur and meet their goals. And then, of course, because she had people sign up for her services, she, of course, had an increase in sales. Now, going back to number one, she had that sold out event, and some of those individuals, they might not have bought into her program, but she did grow her email list because they were in that room. They are now on her email list. And now she's able to nurture those individuals in areas that are quieter, right into their inbox through their email. So, this is where you take a look at what it is, what are your goals, and how it is that you're going to show up on LinkedIn. And then, how can we align those ways that you show up on LinkedIn so that it matches your goals so that you actually accomplish them? So here's my question to you. Who is it that you want to attract on LinkedIn? Feel free to share it in the comments during the live, or feel free to share it during the replay. But here are some things that you should take a look at. Number one, I mentioned it already a few times. What are your company goals? Now, I always ask my clients, like, what are your top 3 goals? And by the way, one of the goals, I know it's to make more money, but I don't really take that as one of your goals because that's a little bit vague. No, we need to make more money. I totally understand it. But I love it where we've got goals that are actionable, that we can measure. So, for instance, she wants to fill that room. We were able to measure how the posts were doing. And also, we could measure like how many people ended up purchasing a ticket. So, how can we measure these goals? So, what are your top 3 goals? And then you want to be able to describe. So, take a piece of paper and pen and describe who your future clients and your future collaborators are, because you want to be able to make content that's going to resonate with these individuals. So when you are sending out connection requests and they see that content, they're going to look at their devices and say, this person sent out a connection request to me. I really like what they're sharing. I'm going to accept. And now you've got somebody who is your captivated audience. And then also, when you are listing out who your future clients are, who are your future collaborators, write down what are their interests and their concerns, otherwise known as pain points. Because when you are sharing content on LinkedIn to this audience that you want to attract, you want to share content that's going to be meaningful for them. It's going to be helpful. They're going to be able to learn more from you. They're going to be able to discover more about your process. You're going to be able to solve their pain points. If they are looking for somebody, who does what it is that you do, because in most cases, they're not going to look up your name because in most cases, they will not know who you are. But they're going to put some of these concerns, some of these interests in the search bar. And we want to ensure that those keywords that they're putting in, they're going to pull up your content, and therefore you're going to be able to stand out. So when you answer these questions, then your content will resonate and it will resonate with your target audience. So here are some examples of winning content. And these are individuals that I know, or these are individuals who are also in my LinkedIn membership. So to the left-hand side, that is my friend Sheldon. And actually, I want to make sure that I get everybody's title correct. So I've got my my clipboard here. So Sheldon Isaac, He is a videographer, photographer, and he specializes in event branding, social media videos, and also he captures those winning moments at your networking events. And he also does your brand photos. Now, for Sheldon, you got to go, and I'm going to make sure that I share the link to his profile after the live. But when you go to Sheldon, he has such an interesting and such an engaging way of sharing content. He usually, whenever he goes out to networking events, he sets up his camera, and then he talks about the event. He highlights the people who are at the event. And then that way he is able to share with his audience, his ideal clients, how it is that he can help your event to stand out as well. And he also gives a lot of great lessons for entrepreneurs. And then the next person is Clarissa E., and she is a psychologist and she is based in Canada. And for her, she provides relationship support for couples. Now, in this picture here, she is sitting down on the floor, her legs are crossed. And what I love about her is that her content, she uses like interesting images, and you see her smiling in here. And in this particular post, she is sharing her process of putting together a keynote or putting together a webinar so that her audience will actually like attend and feel very engaged and also learn a lot of doable tips that they can apply to their own relationships. So this is another way that you can share some winning content on LinkedIn. We've got Sheldon, who is, sharing his day at networking events and also interviewing people. And then Clarissa, she is sharing her process because she is using LinkedIn in such a great way. And what's happening for her is that she is now having her webinars filled and she is flying out to places where she is like the keynote speaker. And this has happened because of LinkedIn. Then we've got Elaine Timms, and Elaine Timms, she is a Pinterest strategist and manager. What is so cool about her is that she's here on LinkedIn and she is sharing with her ideal clients the benefits of Pinterest. In fact, you can see here, it says how we helped a professional organizer ditch their social media. How dare Elaine say that? Like LinkedIn is social media, but her content is so amazing. The titles are punchy. And here she is sharing a case study. So when you go to this particular post, you'll be able to scroll through. The thing about on LinkedIn is that people want to know how it is that you got the results for your clients. And she does a great way of doing this. And then we've got Lucy Rizzo, and she is a realtor extraordinaire, and she focuses on downsizing, and she is a downsizing specialist. And she shares like downsizing tips, especially for a very large audience called the sandwich generation. The sandwich generation is that middle group of individuals where they're bringing up children and they also have the senior parents who need a smaller home. So she gives a lot of great tips. So she's not just about telling you sign up with her, let her sell your home, but she also shares amazing tips about how to get rid of the clutter, how to save the items that are most valuable to you so that when you move to a smaller place, you'll be able to carry those memories to you as well. So these are great ways of having winning content on LinkedIn. And then here are some examples for me. These are some types of content that I share. One of them is going live on LinkedIn. What I love about going live on LinkedIn is that I put some marketing into it. So I share that on my LinkedIn profile. I'll share a post as an event that I'm going live on LinkedIn. And then when you are able to go live on LinkedIn, you are allowed to invite up to 1,000 of your connections. So now, as you are inviting your connections with intention, and I would recommend that if you do decide to go live on LinkedIn, you go through who it is that you want to invite, who would really enjoy this live. You don't want to just like connect to everybody that you're connected to, because some of these people that you're connected to, they could be from maybe the fact that you work from a 9 to 5 and it's not going to be of any interest, but perhaps you are talking about a particular topic. So when you are sending out those invites, you're going to have the right types of people and more people showing up for the lives or coming back for the replay. And then in the middle, it shows what the live looks like after it's gone live. So we have my banner there, and then once we go live, it stays evergreen on my profile. So if you go to the events button from my LinkedIn profile and you tap on that, you will see all of the lives that I have done. And what's great about it is that people are able to get to know more about me if they've just discovered me on my LinkedIn profile. They'll be able to go and watch my previous lives, now the replays, and also learn more about me. And another thing I want to talk about is that these lives, like this is something that I'm going to be, my VA and I, we're going to be starting, is that I have a newsletter that I send to everybody's inbox via email on Monday. And what we're going to start doing with some of these lives is we are going to link to these lives or these replays so that from the email list, they'll be able to not only like learn the latest tactic, but they'll also be able to go and watch a LinkedIn Live. So it's a great way to repurpose your content. Another way that I show up on LinkedIn is that just about every week, I share a LinkedIn newsletter. I don't share it as an article, I share it as a LinkedIn newsletter. Why do I love LinkedIn newsletters? Is that they show up on search engines outside of LinkedIn. So if I don't have to work as hard and I can reach more people, it's a yes, please for me. Also, with your LinkedIn newsletters, you're able to see who the subscribers are, and then you can take a look if maybe they're going to be the right fit, and you can send out a connection request. So, all of this helps you to bring more people together. So, here is your assignment. And I do see that Hasabo is watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're enjoying this. Now, whenever I do these LinkedIn Lives and I'm going solo, I always have an assignment for those who are watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. Now, what I would love for you to do is to audit your LinkedIn presence. I talked about taking a look at your analytics. So go and take a look at your last 2 months of your LinkedIn analytics, and you can decide as to whether or not this is where you want to be. But if you are finding that your posts have been falling flat and you are seeing that you're always in the red, and also people are not reaching out to you, they're not booking into your calendar, they're not jumping into your DMs, then this is how you know that you have to change what it is that you are sharing on LinkedIn so it actually resonates with your future clients, because they are here, and your future collaborators. So you are going to audit your LinkedIn presence. You're going to review your company goals. So you can shut down your laptop, get away from your phone, go get a cup of coffee, have some tea, write it down, type it through, but just take a look at what your top 3 company goals are again. And then who are these future clients and collaborators that you want to connect with that you're not seeing on the other platforms, but they're on LinkedIn? Because you want to be able to send out those connection requests so that they are going to be able to see your content. And then you're also going to list out what are their interests and their concerns and their pain points. After you do that, feel free to share it in the comments, like it's all family here. Or if you want to have any type of insight on there, I'm happy to answer one question that you have in my DMs. And I also have a freebie for you if you're interested. So I do have a replay that I did back in April, and it's called Glow Up Your LinkedIn Profile. And in this replay of Glow Up Your LinkedIn Profile, I did a presentation on how it is that you can have a standout LinkedIn profile so that you can show up as a go-to in your industry. And then also, it will help you to be searchable. If you are interested in getting the link for this replay, then jump into my DMs, share with me your best email, and I will add you to it. Note, I'm being very transparent that I will be adding you to my email list, but every single week I do share an easy, actionable tip for LinkedIn. So you're going to love it anyway. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I will be back next week with another episode of Strategize Your Business Online. I will be having a guest. And let me know again in the comments about your business, your website, who it is you serve, and also if you've got any questions or any takeaways about this topic, about how to ensure that your posts are resonating with your target audience on LinkedIn, please go ahead and share.